Toyota announced the long-awaited 5th generation of its Supra as a cooperation with BMW using their Z4 platform and inline 6 engine, every Fast and the Furious fanboy was on the fence. A Supra based on a German chassis with a German engine can't be a true JDM sports car, they screamed. Well, nowadays YouTube has quite a lot of these self-claimed experts who all go from hating new cars to first driving and loving them to end up buying one just to put a body kit, bigger turbo and air ride on it. Yes, I may sound like a hater here, but sometimes I miss the good old days of this platform when anxiously waiting for the weekly Chris Harris review was still a thing and proper driving skills to access a car's true character mattered more than having a project car. And while we're on the subject, if there's anything I can tell the few people who are still watching my videos, it's that this Supra is one of the greatest transformations of a base car that I have ever come across by any manufacturer.
Now, from the first meters that you drive this car, it feels very, very different to a BMW Z4. And that's a surprising fact that really made me so happy from the first time that I drove one of these last year, which was actually on the Nordschleife, believe it or not. So let's start by talking about the BMW Z4 and also a little bit about the history of the Toyota Supra. Now, the Toyota Supra here in Germany never was that popular, as you can guess, I guess, in Porsche country. But it was available actually, I believe until 95 or so, and only with the Targa top. But there was actually a comparison test that I found from Automotor and Sport, one of the big magazines in Germany, where they tested the Supra against a Ferrari 348, a Dodge Viper, and the obvious Porsche 911 Carrera. And I was surprised actually to read that the Supra performed really, really well in this test. It achieved, I believe, the best braking result. You can look this up on Wikipedia if you want to. But also the highest cornering speed in a big circle, and also the highest acceleration figures, or the best acceleration figures I should say, not the highest. So a really, really competitive car, and that for me really put into perspective what you have to expect from a Supra, I think. Because we all have this picture of the car being modified, and yeah, we all know it from Fast and Furious, and yeah, I just think of the Supra as a modified car when I hear the word Supra, you know. And you have to put into perspective, I think, what the stock Supra, the 4th generation, actually was. And yeah, it was a surprisingly competitive package. Something that was not just about performance, but really also about being a true sports car and having proper handling. So that surprised me. I didn't know that actually. I was never really that deep into Japanese cars, and if you have any knowledge to share on this, feel free to comment below. But yeah, what would you expect from the 5th generation of the Supra? Probably, yes, not to base it on the BMW Z4. And the problem with the BMW Z4 for me really was that ever since BMW stopped building dedicated M versions with M engines, it just, yeah, became this fast and fun weekend cruiser, but it lost really the chance to be a proper sports car and to gain that respect in the fan base of true enthusiasts, you know, people that love proper driving. Even though it always was something that had the right pedigree for it, you know, rear-wheel drive, great inline 6 engines. It was just too soft, you know. It always left a lot on the table for people that, yeah, want to be driving a BMW that is able to compete with, yeah, let's say a Porsche Cayman, for example, or a Boxster, you know. So I understand that there was a lot of criticism, but Toyota, being Toyota, was not satisfied with the Z4 or Z4 and really made this Supra its own thing. And that's not just about it being fixed roof, it's really about the handling of this car, which is such a surprise and such a reminder of what made the GT86 such a highly popular and well-respected sports car. Now, it's been a while since I actually got up early in the morning to go for a weekend drive with a car, but the Supra is the kind of car to look for places where you can do a little bit of shenanigans and just enjoy yourself, and it definitely delivers in that department. The steering for me is the first pleasant difference that you notice. In the Z4 it's always a little bit wake, it's not that great actually, and doesn't give you the feeling of being really connected with the car. The Supra steering here is really authentic, and it feels so direct and has a finesse about it that makes you want to drive the car with your fingertips, just because it's so direct and responds so fast while being light. So that's something that instantly makes you realize, okay, this is something interesting. And then the handling of this car with the short wheelbase also is something that feels proper rear driven and has an agility engineered into it that really surprised me from the first time I drove one of these cars last year. And that's so enjoyable and so refreshing. We have so many sports cars that don't let you feel anything of their driving dynamics because the limit is so high beyond anything that you can drive on a public road, and it gets less exciting to drive fast sports cars, you know. And this is just a very different approach. This is about handling for me and about offering a driving experience and a car that is playful, is agile, and gets you excited from the first corners that you drive with it. For a back road, 500 Newton meters, 340 horsepower. What more do you need, you know? It always feels like that you're just on the edge to overcome the grip of the rear tires, and yeah, if you want to drift this car, as you've seen, it's one of the best to do that too. Don't underestimate the drivability when you look at new sports cars. That's what I want to tell you here. And what I really like about this inline 6 turbo engine here from BMW is that it really doesn't feel turbocharged at all. It has a ton of torque low down, and just the responsiveness of this engine is so good. Yeah, the throttle response in this car is absolutely amazing for a turbo engine, I think, and makes you feel like you're driving a bigger naturally aspirated engine and not a turbo unit. The sound of this European/German version here is probably not as exciting as what you guys get in the States, for example. The burble tune, as it's called, is not really that loud in this car, which is a bit of a shame, but not something that bothers me that much. And while we are talking about the powertrain, this ZF 8-speed automatic transmission here is still, for me, the best in the market, I have to say. When you are cruising, it's so smooth, and it always finds the right gear, so it's really relaxing to drive this car when you're not on it. But when you want to drive a little bit faster and you put it into the sport mode and put the shifter into the manual mode here, it is just like the engine, a really responsive transmission. I mean, fourth, third. Even though I'm a big manual fan and I wish this car was available with a manual transmission, it's not something that holds me back from calling this a great driver's car and from actually being something that I would totally consider buying, even though it has an automatic transmission and I'm such a big manual fanboy, as you guys know. It's not something that you drive like an on-off switch, you know. You have to put a little bit of dedication into your driving to enjoy this, you know. Some people could think that it is a little bit too nervous for them, just because it always gives you the sense of being rear driven, and yeah, how light the steering is, and yeah, you have to put a little bit of effort into your driving. But even though it's an automatic, I have to say, for me, it's a proper driver's car, and it gives you such a big playground at the limit to enjoy. You can drive this car neutral, you know, and use the perfect weight distribution. And yeah, when you want to overcome the grip of the rear tires, there's always enough power to do that. And it's super enjoyable to drift with this car, which is not something that I really promote doing on public roads, but it's one of those cars where even I can't help it, you know. But yeah, guys, tell me what you think about this car. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, because this car has been on the market for a while by now, and yeah, now that other individuals are enjoying the roads here, I think it's time for me to to leave you guys.